Today I will give you a ton of information about how to hike in Estonia, what is the best time to come to visit Estonia, where you can find information about hiking trails, how you can access these hiking trails, and where you can camp. Let's get started. Hello my hiking friends, it is nice to see you here. Mosquitoes! Many of you have asked me a lot of questions about hiking in Estonia, where to find information, what to consider, what should you know. So this all got me thinking that I should do a whole video series about hiking in Estonia. I have really many things I can tell you that you can't find just Googling, or you may not find it so easily. So, the best time to visit Estonia, of course, any summer month will be good to go. June, July, August are reasonably warm. The spring and autumn weather can be very fluctuating, so I can't guarantee you that you will have a great weather here. Great weather, I mean no rain. But be mindful that in autumn, like in September, October, depending on the year, you can have really beautiful autumn colors. Everything is like really bright and yellow and brown and orange and red. So these really awesome colors are popping on the autumn time. So it can be really rewarding time to visit Estonia, but I can't guarantee you that you will have rain-free vacation here. We have bugs, mosquitoes, and these small midges, I think you call them midges, throughout the summer, but mosquitoes tend to calm down at the second part of the summer, meaning July and August, so it will be much better to visit Estonia then. Summer is also great to hike because of these long daylight hours. In the middle of the summer you can have sunrise at 4 a.m. and sunset at 10 p.m. so you have this huge time to just walk around, enjoy, and just see the nature. Language. So, the official language of Estonia is Estonian, but I assume you don't speak Estonian. But you don't have to worry, because most of Estonians speak English or understand at least some part of it. So if you speak it, you will manage just fine here. The older generation, meaning like 40 years old and up, can speak Russian as well, but many young people don't understand it anymore. Most of the information next to the trailheads and next to the natural sites will be both in Estonian and English as well. Hiking trails. As most of the hiking trails are managed by RMK, Riigimetsa Majandamise Keskus, or State Forest Management Center, you can find all of the information in one spot. We have a lot of trail options, some shorter ones, day hike ones, some longer ones, and also quite long ones for you to attempt a through hike of Estonia, as I am doing right now in sections. Anyway, most of the trails are situated in really beautiful places and next to some natural sites and so on. So whichever trail you choose, you should be good to go and have a great nature experience. But some trails are more awesome than others, and I will give you my personal favorites list in the future videos, where I will tell you what kind of trails I really like and suggest you to visit as well if you really want to come here. There are two long-distance trails in Estonia. One that goes from north of Estonia to south of Estonia and covers 375 kilometers, and the other one that goes from west of Estonia to the south of Estonia and covers 820 kilometers of trails. And this is what I am hiking right now. In next year, 2018, there should be a third long-distance hiking trail covering over 600 kilometers, going from east of Estonia to west of Estonia. Estonia is also part of an European long-distance trail called E9, and it goes from Estonia to Portugal, and it is 5,000 kilometers long. But I have to warn you, the Estonian part of the trail that runs all across the Estonian coastline is still under development, and some parts may not be ready. And I have not visited the trail myself, so I don't know how well marked it is on real life, but it's really awesome to think that you can walk from Estonia to Portugal if you want to. If you are planning to hike longer trails in Estonia, I suggest you to print out a map that are all freely downloadable. If you are doing the shorter hikes, like day hikes, they are all marked really well on the nature and you don't need a map. For these two long distance trails, you can buy a bunch of maps that cover the whole trail from nature centers. And they're really good maps, but the same maps are in the internet as well, and you can print them out, you don't have to buy it. The whole bunch of these maps and the small guidebook about the trail costs about 10 euros in nature centers. Unfortunately, the guidebook is only in Estonian, but if you follow these signs here and the name of the camping places, you could get some really useful information from here. Camping. Where can you camp in Estonia? There are a lot of pre-prepared camping places in Estonia, and you can also find them in the internet. So I really suggest you to use these pre-prepared camping places because you have a lot of things there. You have the fire pit, dry firewood under a firewood shelter. You have dry toilet there, a picnic table, some benches, and sometimes some kind of shelter for you to sleep when you want to, but not always. You can't make fire anywhere else, only in these camping places. The camping places, and especially the ones that have some kind of shelter or a cabin freely to use to everybody, they are quite popular among Estonians, so be prepared to share the space if there are other visitors there as well. If you really want some privacy, there are some rental huts that you can pre-book with a really cheap price, like starting from 35 euros per night. They are really basic shelters with no running water and usually without no bedding in them. So it's a really simple way of spending your night in the nature, but they're booked quite long in advance because they're really popular among Estonians, so be mindful of that. You can wild camp in Estonia for one night, but you can't make fire. Remember, you can make fire only in these pre-prepared fireplaces. You can camp on private land as well if there are no fences and no signs that say you can't trespass there. If you are camping on private land, please be aware of houses on this land and keep away from them to respect the privacy of the landowner. We call this right to walk everywhere, every man's law, and basically it is just a collection of Estonian laws that allow normal people by foot or on bike, on horseback or with a boat to walk and move everywhere if you respect the land itself. So of course I will leave a link below where you can check this every man's law and the principles behind it. Overall, Estonian people are really friendly, and if you are polite and friendly yourself, you shouldn't have a problem. But I have to warn you about local people who live next to these beautiful natural sites where there are a lot of tourists. So these landowners can have a big prejudices. Prejudice. Oh my God, it's a hard word. They can have this thing because they assume that tourists are loud and rude and obnoxious. So, but as I told you, if you are friendly and polite, you shouldn't have any problems. It gets chilly. So yeah, Estonian summers. If the sun is shining, it can be quite warm, but if the sun is setting, you always need some kind of jacket in the night. And finally, the last topic of today, transportation. How can you reach those trails if you don't have a car or a rental car? Most of the trails can be quite hard to reach because they are quite deep in the nature, but some trails, and really beautiful trails, are accessible by train that runs from the capital of Estonia, from Tallinn to Tartu to Valga, down in the really south part of Estonia. So many trails are next to the or close to the train station, so you can ride from Tallinn to the trail, hop off, do your hiking circles or many circles or a big circle, and then hop on to the train again and ride back to the capital. It is really awesome option and I have used it many times. The ride can cost up to 16 euros, so it's not that expensive. The trains are quite comfortable and you have really nice screens in the train with all of the stop names, and you can see really easily when you have to get off. You can pay with your credit card or card in the train, but be careful if you are using the short distance trains next to Tallinn or near Tallinn. There you can only pay with cash, and I learned it the hard way. In my future videos I will share you some of the trails that are especially easy to reach with trains. The local buses drive to many places and you can actually reach the trails with these buses, but they can be hard to use if you are a foreigner. And even if I am not a local myself, I have hard time knowing what stop to exit exactly. You can ask the bus driver to tell you when your stop is nearing. I have done it many times before. It works, but it just can be a little bit difficult to know when to hop off. It is safe to hitchhike if you want to, but Estonians can be quite conservative and modest, and many of you may not pick you up, but if you are consistent you can easily move your way on bigger roads. A tip for you: if some Estonians are picking you up and they are not talking to you in the car, they are not angry at you, we just don't know how to small talk. You can start the conversation yourself, we don't mind that, but starting the conversations ourselves is quite hard for us, so just be prepared. In my next video in the series of how to hike in Estonia, I will tell you all about Estonian wildlife, what should you be worried about and what not, restocking on the trail, food, water and fuels, and also a little bit about emergencies, where to contact and what to know if you have an emergency situation here in the nature on the trails. I will also introduce to you some of my favorite hiking trails in Estonia, and I will pay special attention to these trails that are really easy to access with trains. I don't know if it shows, but I'm really excited to do these videos because it is like my personal mission to introduce Estonia and Estonian nature to you, my friends who are not in Estonia. Yeah, I hope you find these videos useful and informative, and if you want to visit Estonia, I hope these videos will make your life a little bit easier. Thank you for watching, go for a hike, and I will see you next week. Bye! Whew, that was a long one, a lot of information. I hope it wasn't too boring. Should I make some interesting things now? I don't know. Anyway, mosquitoes.